How big can I get my heart to be?
Thought Media Network proudly presents
How much love can I get flowing out of me?
The Real Talk Sisters. Deep, unfiltered, soulful conversations with Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, Reverend Kim Andrews, and Reverend Melinda Wood Allen.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Join us for Real Talk on Real Issues, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Mountain. And now, let's join the Real Talk Sisters.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Glad to have you with us. Glad to be here today. My name is Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley. I am the senior minister at Harmony Spiritual Center in Fort Worth, Texas.
And I'm Reverend Kim Andrews. I am the spiritual leader at Unity Spiritual Center in Saxe, Texas. And it is good to be here again. Reverend Melinda's not with us today. She's had some surgery and she is recuperating and taking care of herself, and we are glad she is doing that.
Absolutely. That's what we got to do.
Fort.
Yeah.
So our topic today is about truth.
Yes. What truth do we tell? And I put it in parentheses. What truth do we tell? Yeah, and I would like to just start off with a reading from the Four Agreements by San Miguel Luis, and the first one where it says, "Be impeccable with your word," and it sounds simple. But why your word? What's the deal with your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Through the Word, you express your creative power. And it is through the Word that you manifest everything, regardless of what language you speak. The Word is a force. It is the power you have to express, to communicate, to think, and thereby create the events in your life. Your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending on how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. So I just wanted to read about the power we have in our words. And, when I hear people saying all the time, well, that's just the truth. I'm just telling you the truth, as if to say something that was hurtful to the other person is okay because it's the truth as you know it. But the truth is so subjective. And one of the other four agreements is to take nothing personal. So when you say about being impeccable with your word and don't take anything personally, well, when somebody is telling you something and they're telling you the truth as they know it, everything that people say comes from their own self. It's not about you. Everything that I say is a reflection of my thoughts. It's a reflection of what I think about me. It's a reflection of what I think is mine to do. And so therefore the opposite is true as well. What someone is saying is not necessarily your truth, is a reflection of what they think. And so we just wanted to get into this conversation about what is truth. When do we feel like we should speak the truth? Is there a time when we shouldn't? Just on and on. So there's a lot of conversation, I believe, that we can have around this subject. So those are just a couple of things that were on my mind. We'll see where this conversation goes, but that was a couple of things in my mind. What do you think, Kim, when we were talking about having this subject?
Well, I think, yes, there is the truth, in air quotes, with a lowercase t that is subjective and comes from our own AEPs, already established premises, the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we have that are just about us and that come from us. And then there's truth with a capital T. And so I went to Charles Fillmore's, who's one of the co-founders of Unity, He has a book called The Revealing Word that was first published in 1959. And it's really metaphysical definitions of common words. And so I looked up to see if truth was in there. And this is what it says about truth with a capital T. The absolute with a capital A, that which accords with God as divine principle, that which is, has been, and ever will be, that which eternally is. The truth of God is reality, quote, the same yesterday and today, yea, and forever, end quote. The verities of being are eternal and have always existed. Truth abides in fullness at the very core of man's being. As his consciousness, awareness expands, he touches the everlasting truth. What seems new is but the unveiling of that which always has been. The basic principle of truth is that the mind of each individual may be consciously unified with divine mind through the indwelling Christ. By affirming at one-ment with God mind, we eventually realize that perfect mind, which was in Christ Jesus. So it's saying here, truth with a capital T is when we join with, we embrace, and we're looking and we're speaking from and thinking from God principle.
Correct.
And what we do is we often muck that all up with our own thoughts, our own proclivities, our own misguided beliefs.
Yes.
All the things that come upon us as we're living in the world, and we let that distract us from truth with a capital T.
Exactly. And one of my favorite things, and I'm beginning to do this more now, just because I just see the power of it, and because I know a particular truth, is that when Jesus healed, and he was going around healing people, and he said, your faith has made you well. So I really feel like Jesus was like one of the first people to show us what a partner in believing looks like.
Yes.
What a partner in believing looks like, because he only knew the truth, and then you recognized the truth that he saw, and then so you were able to believe in his believing. Oh, okay, so he could speak that truth and say, rise and walk, or whatever it was, because he knew the ultimate truth, and because you could see him speak, and if you didn't believe that yourself, you would not have been able to rise and walk. But he just pointed up the truth that you recognize, and so then you were able to do that. So there's that whole big T truth that we all have available to us, and that is the truth. I think that helps one another. One of the questions that I ask myself all the time is, whatever it is I'm saying, is this necessary to say? How is this helping? Who is this helping? What's this about? So it'll take like a split second for those thoughts to go to your head and for you to respond. What is the highest and best here? And I think particularly as ministers and counselors and coaches, when we hear somebody with some error of thinking, and we know that they're speaking in a way that there's an error there, then it's kind of, I feel the need to kind of course correct, just in terms of let me give you a couple of more words to say. Let me give you some thoughts about what you're saying here, because I know that the way that you're speaking, you're going to be drawing in what you don't want. And so there's a speaking the ultimate truth, the God truth to people. And so I think that is, for me, I think that is part of what we do, and what we're called to do is to speak a truth that we know. When we know that somebody is not quite there, and will do themselves harm if they keep on going down that road, believing that is the truth of them, and it's not. So that's one.
And perhaps that's one of our most important jobs as spiritual leaders is to invite people to seek truth with a capital T. And often we don't know what that is until we sit and we get quiet, because it doesn't come from the rational mind. And often what's the capital T truth is very, very different from truth as we know it.
Correct.
That comes from our ego, from those already established principles, things that we believe.
Yeah.
And not the absolute. And I know for myself, sometimes, most of the time, I do have to pause, breathe, and then connect, which is what Jesus did before he every single miracle that he performed. He would get quiet. He would raise his eyes to heaven, connect with the power that he knew was
Yes.
at the back of everything that he did and
Yes.
could perform. And then he let us know, like you said, he would tell people, no, it wasn't me, because they had to have the faith that matched his
Exactly.
in order
In
for
order
the
for that to work.
manifestation to happen.
Correct. Correct.
And I love that about him, because he could have said, oh, yes, I'm the son of God and I made this happen. And, it's
Yeah,
all
I'm the
about
one.
me.
I'm the one you
Thank you,
want.
thank you, thank you. I'm so great. But he's like, no, it's not about
No,
me,
no.
because this could not have happened without your faith.
Right.
And that's the
And so
truth of the matter.
that is the truth of the matter, and that is the power that we're here to support each other in.
Yeah.
And people will see you doing whatever it is you're doing, and having just having some stuff that's just gonna and I don't the whole I think Michael uh,
Declan?
the one that's Michael God, yeah, he says this, and it's a quote from someone else, and it's a little bit differently, but what he says is that something is a comparison is the death of joy. It's the death of joy. So we don't need to compare ourselves, but we look at somebody who we think, oh, they're way up there. They really understand, truth, and they're manifesting, today, in this moment, and then the next moment I could be falling down and going, well, what happened there?
Mhm.
So it's not that truth is elusive. It's just that our understanding of what's possible for us is elusive, and we think that one miracle or blessing or answered prayer is bigger than another, and it's not. It's about what we believe to be true. If you're raised with a lack of consciousness, then having a lot of money is possibly a prayer or a belief that's difficult for you to believe that you deserve more money, that you deserve more prosperity in your life. It is true. God said, "Oh, I want the doors to shower you with gifts from heaven." There was no limitation of what God said He would shower you with. So where's the limitation at in your ability to know the truth,
Mhm.
to know the absolute truth? So yeah, so there's a lot going on in the world, from our parents, from the collective consciousness, that speaks to things that seem like truth, and that everybody kind of goes and agrees with, but it actually isn't truth. And so you end up having to go against the grain to know what's really true, universally true, true God's truth,
Yeah.
your spiritual truth. Yeah. So it's quite a topic.
It took me, I think, being in New Thought before I trusted my intuition, and trusting that as a voice of the Holy Spirit, or as I put it now, that there is the still small voice within me that guides me. And so I may hear I may hear advice from other people. I may hear opinions from other people. I may even read something that's supposed to be the truth, and really could just be, again, the truth has someone in particular sees it. But then
Yeah.
now I hold all things with a grain of salt. And
It's
then I
absolutely.
have to go within and say, okay, what really resonates with me? What is at the core of my heart right now about this particular issue? And then
Right.
that's my way of joining with the absolute, with God mind. And from there, I find capital T truth. Um,
Exactly.
I notice now how we seem to, in our culture, Western culture, that we go to movie stars for opinions or words about something. And I think, when did they become the end all and be all?
What happened? What
Mostly about
happened?
politics. When did that
Yeah.
happen?
Oh, my stars. I know. When
Just
did that
because
happen?
you're a
Indeed.
great actor and you can
Right.
be in movies and you can play the hell out of a character, that all of a sudden I should take your word for how I need to vote, or what I need to speak,
How I know. Correct.
how
Correct.
I should
There's a
live, and you don't live the same way I do. I mean, so
exactly.
what does that
Yeah.
mean?
So what does that mean? There's a question in the chat, and she may be shocking to you because I don't know that I was talking about truth. She said I logged in, just began reading the definition of truth. I don't know that I read a definition of truth. I don't know which one she was talking, but we did there. Sorry, Anita. It goes fast. If we start talking, I'm not sure where that came from.
Oh, yes. So I did. So
Okay.
I read from the Revealing Word, Anita, and this is what it said: the absolute, that which accords with God is divine principle, that which is, has been, and ever will be, that which eternally is. The truth of God is reality, the same yesterday and today, yea, and forever. The verities of being are eternal and have always existed. Truth abides in fullness at the very core of man's being. As his consciousness expands, he touches the everlasting truth, and truth is here with a capital T. What seems new is but the unveiling of that which always has been. So the revealing word is saying that truth is that which comes from divine mind, and
Exactly.
always has been and will be true today, tomorrow, and forever.
Yeah, forever. And
And
so we're always searching to make sure that what we're talking about, what we're doing, what truth we think we're telling is actually divine truth. Is it's ultimate, universal law is the truth from God, not a truth because of some thoughts you had, some facet of the truth, but actual truth that's true for all. And so that begins to be where what we're talking about. But another part of the conversation when we were thinking about this topic and certain things came up for me is about what truth do you tell. So in other words, like what the truth is as a minister, let's say, or a person who has kind of been on the spiritual path a little bit and can see a few things, but is the person who you're talking to, are they ready? Are they ready, capable of hearing what you're saying? Will they be able to understand that? So when I say, what truth do you tell? Are they at this point in their unveiling, their discovering of truth or whatever? What do we say? It's like talking to someone who's in the first grade and you're talking on a high school level or a college level. So I'm not saying that you dummy down things, but you really, I think, need to take into consideration where someone is and what they're actually saying to you when they're asking you a question or making a comment. Because I do this afterwards all the time at Harmony, where after the service we sit and we talk about just making comments or conversations about either the talk or some spiritual principle or whatever. And because there's so many people in the room listening, then I'm listening for the truth that applies to everyone. And so that I can say that, okay, yeah, that's a truth for you, but let's look over the whole thing and say, how does that actually apply? And I'm always listening for that because I don't want people to walk around and think, oh, I'm not good because I can't do that. Or, I'm lesser than whatever it is. We always take it on as human beings. We take on a negative aspect rather than say, I'm just not there yet, or that's not my truth yet, or whatever. We take it like we're missing something. And so that was one thing that I was thinking about. Like, what truth do you tell? What truth do you tell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anita says here, this goes back to living from the inside out, since the infinite is an indwelling presence. Yes.
That is correct. You're
So
absolutely
even if
correct,
we're
Anita.
speaking and we think we're speaking the truth, we always need to check in. Am I speaking
Absolutely.
from my individual consciousness or from God consciousness?
Correct.
Because I remember days I thought I was preaching truth to people.
Right.
And giving them what for, reading their rights and everything else. And the truth is this, the truth is that. And really all I was doing was speaking from a hurt place and wanting to lash out. And didn't always know it at the time, but at the time I also was not acquainted with that indwelling presence.
Right.
That in which I live and move and have my being. So I wasn't acquainted with that. So all I knew was my hot mess of a consciousness that I didn't know was a hot mess.
Exactly, and this is why we're constantly evolving. We're constantly evolving to a higher level, a higher, and just higher on the ladder in terms of what you can see. The higher up on the ladder you go, the ladder goes up to the moon. The higher the level, the further out you can see. And so we don't know where on the ladder we are. So we see what we see. But if we just climb one more rung, oh my God, that's a horizon over there. I didn't even know it was there. You know what I mean? So that's all. So it's just, so number one, I think that we just need to know that the truth we're telling right now, and even for us, the truth that's mine right now wasn't necessarily the truth of me or what I knew 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Because I'm constantly evolving, it's constantly being revealed to me what is mine to do. What is the highest truth? What is the most helpful truth? And what I'm going to know 5 years from now, thinking about what I know now, what I know 5 years from now will be different. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it because that's what truth, that's what we do. We're evolving consciously and our consciousness is evolving. And so, if you believe in reincarnation, that would, to me, would be one of the reasons to be reincarnated, is because your consciousness is going higher and higher. hopefully. And so,
Yeah,
you
hopefully
know,
we're
so
growing
yeah,
and evolving. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that's what's happening. You're every time you come back, you know a little bit more, you know a little bit more. Um, but yeah, so so what truth do you tell? I was speaking to a person who was telling me that she looking to get married, and how she liked the person, and the person, just all kinds of things. But then the final statement that you said was, truth is, I need the money. And so I said, okay, yeah, I understand that. I said, but the truth is, here's the truth. You don't need money. Spirit said, he'll open up the doors of heaven and pour it out to you. So if you desire money, that's the prayer for you. You can just ask for it. You don't have to marry someone else and feel bad about it. Because it sounds like you're feeling bad about that aspect of the relationship. And so just might want to think about that. How would it be if you brought your own money to the table? Would you still want to be in this relationship? So that's for you to answer. I don't know. But since you brought this part up, I want you to think about it more fully. What would happen if you had your own? And why can't you have your own? What's making you think that you can't have your own? That the only way to get it is to marry it. What makes you think that? And so, anyway, I think we might want to take a quick break here and come back.
Yeah, break time.
Okay, we are back with our topic. What truth do we tell? What truth do we tell? And so we're just kind of exploring what exactly truth is, and when do we speak it out, and how do we know? All kinds of questions like that. Um,
I was just thinking, sometimes I think in moments like that, sometimes our truth is not speaking at all.
okay.
Maybe it's just time to let things sit.
Yes. Yes.
And it's interesting. I was sharing earlier before we came on the air that once we decided this topic on Saturday, I guess it was, every TV show, every movie I watched, somebody was talking about truth, or the truth as they want to reveal it, or the way they speak it. So one movie, I forget the exact name of it, but it was something about divorce. And there was a couple that was really struggling in their marriage, and it was kind of a comedy/drama. And the counselor that they were going to was angry and bitter.
The counselor was angry? That's funny.
Yes, the counselor. And so she's really going off about this in one of those sessions, and she's yelling at the husband and everything. And she was starting to talk about the truth is this. She was just like I was explaining I was that day. And she was pointing at the husband and telling him all kinds of stuff, but she was really talking about her own marriage and bringing her own hot mess to the scene. And he said, the truth is here is you are the wrong person for us to be working with.
Let me just tell you what the real truth is I see it.
Yeah. So we're going to move
not ready.
out of here.
Yeah.
We're going to move
You're not ready for us.
You're not ready. I
You're
don't
not
know
ready.
what you're ready for.
But it ain't us.
You're not helping anybody today. Yes.
But thank you. Really? Thanks for playing. Thanks for playing.
Are you qualified for this work? Really? Are you qualified for this? Because not seeing it.
Yeah, I know. I remember, and I can't remember the specifics, but I remember I said something, and it must have been to do with having a blessing or some revelations from spirit or whatever. I don't know. But the person looked at me and said, "Wow, you really think highly of yourself, don't you?" And I said, "Not really, but apparently you do." Because whatever people are reflecting, it's a reflection pretty much of their own thoughts. not necessarily about what you're doing. This is one of the four agreements when it talks about don't take things personally, because people are always coming, myself included. I'm a people. I'm coming from my own thoughts and reflections and consciousness, and so I throw it out there. You don't have to take it. You don't have to pick it up. I'll throw something out, but you don't have to catch it. It may or may not be yours, and that's for you to decide, right? I mean, that's so. If you, to me, if somehow it bothers you, that's something for you to reflect on and to think about. What's bothering me about this? That's what's bothering me about this. So it's just so many ways in which we get to look at the truth, and and how do you know? How do you know it's the truth? How do you know what truth actually is? So to me, that's a big question.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
think
know?
we have to be willing to be relentlessly self-aware, so
I
that
love that.
we
I love
know,
that.
am I speaking my own personal truth,
Right.
and am I willing to accept that the truth with a capital T might be different than what I'm speaking and believing right now. And
Exactly.
that's a real humble, vulnerable place to be, to say,
It is.
this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, but that might not be truth, absolute truth. And be
Absolute
willing
truth
to
or
be
total
wrong,
truth.
and
Yes.
be willing to have some space there that we have to grow into, to raise our consciousness, to
Yeah.
expand, to evolve, and say, yeah, this might be true for me now, and this might be in my own little world, in my individual consciousness, but it might be so far from the absolute truth.
Exactly. And I don't know, Kim, whether we actually ever get to an absolute truth, because that would be, to me, that would be kind of pinpointing God and not really understanding the complexities of truth and how big it actually can be. And all we're doing is looking at a piece of it, but not necessarily the whole. And doesn't mean that the piece we're looking at isn't true. It's just that I love that. You have to be relentlessly, I think what you said, something about relentlessly looking at our own selves and what we're
Self-aware.
saying. Yeah, relentless. I love that. I'm going to put that up. Relentlessly self-aware, because the ego makes us think that we know so much, and we're just umming on the mountain somewhere, and the truth is all in and through and around us. And we're telling our truth in this moment, but that's not the fullness necessarily of the truth. It's just a piece of it. And so just to know that I don't know the fullness. I only know this piece of it, and I'm going to go ahead and speak that. I'm not going to shy away from that, but I'm also going to recognize it may not necessarily be the fullness. And so I think when you recognize it's not the fullness, you make space for the addition of someone else's thoughts about that truth.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see their truth as well. You know what I mean? So yeah,
If we think of it, like you said earlier, if we think about it in the path of abundance, we might say, okay, I'm on a fixed income, and
yes,
I that's where I am right now, and that's all I'm going to have, so I need to live within those means.
yes,
Or, because the absolute truth is we live in an abundant universe,
that's
and
the absolute truth.
a completely boundless, I'm loving that
Yes,
word now, from the
love that
conference,
word. Love that word. Yes,
boundless abundance. So you might have a fixed income today, but you could decide tomorrow that you want to be a millionaire.
exactly.
And so that's possible. But even that, like you said, is a pinpoint of God, because that's still not boundless, because there are billionaires. And so, but there are all of these innumerable ideas out there that could move you from being on a fixed income to whatever it is that you dream. But that is, like
Yes,
you said, is still a pinpoint of God. It's still a part of the answer, because there's so much more beyond that.
exactly,
I remember
exactly.
Wayne Dyer saying at one point he was making so much money he could not give it away fast enough.
Wow,
And
beautiful.
it just kept coming in, and he just kept trying to give away money. And uh, and he said, the more I gave away, the more I made. And so
Yes.
he said it really blew the ceiling off of his idea about what abundance is.
Isn't it something? It
And
really
he said,
is.
I'm not trying to make money. It's just coming, and I can't get rid of it fast enough. So I thought, oh,
Well, look,
I need to
I'm
expand to
definitely
that consciousness there.
I'm definitely looking to get there, buddy. I'm definitely looking to get there. And one of the things that's happening for me now, is that this work that I'm doing, when I've actually discovered what I believe is my true purpose of being here, is setting myself free in my own mind about what is possible, what my purpose is for being here. And I honestly believe that everyone is here they have a purpose, and that their purpose is what's going to bring them joy and set them free. When they actually are living that purpose and living from that space, that's what's going to set them free. And so the more that I work, the more that I give away that purpose, the more stuff comes back to me, and people go, "Oh, I want that. I want some of that." No, that's not why I was here. I wasn't here for that. No, but that's what's happening. So how do we move forward?
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. And so I think I believe that's a bit of what just a tiny bit of what I can see about what happens when you start living from your purpose. I think that is a truth. I think that is a truth, that we all are here with a specific thing that other people's energy is waiting for us to do. That's why it's so powerful for us to go ahead and live the dream, live what we're here to do, like your peace initiative. There are people wanting peace just like you're talking about. There are people who want their dreams of their life to come true. This is what I'm talking about. And so I think that's a piece of the truth. That's just a piece of the truth. Live your truth. Live your purpose, regardless of whether you know how. Just keep moving towards it, because that'll be revealed. And that's another truth that's difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can't see it. Well, no, it's okay. Keep going towards it anyway.
Yeah. Anita's got such great comments today. She said, I was just going to say that, Pjae, will we ever get to the absolute? Maybe once we move out of this plane of existence. And then she said, for all intents and purposes, I am on a fixed income. However, I know that I always have everything I need with plenty to spare and to share, pressed down and overflowing. All of my needs are met before the need arises. I've started affirming that on a regular basis. Because if we're really living in the absolute, then there is no need, because we have everything.
Exactly.
There are only, what is it that I would love right now? It's not, we don't need anything.
No, there's no need.
Is closer than at our fingertips. And so now I'm starting to challenge myself to think in the absolute, to think boundlessly, to think about that there are no boundaries to what I can have. I just need to know, what do I want right now?
Exactly.
And even that is a subset of what is out there.
Yeah.
It's a subset of what is out there. But it's a next step of expression for ourselves.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
And to your point, Anita, I'm going to come back to you, because she says, for all intents and purposes, I am on a fixed income. Yeah. But that is a piece of where the money flows. But your money, or your abundance, can come from everywhere. Spirit is not in your bank account. Spirit is, I rarely look at my bank account to make a decision, because if I did that, I'd never move forward. I would never move forward. I just say, yes, I'm doing that. And then I absolutely expect Spirit to bring it to me, because, Anita, because each of us are Spirit incarnate. And Spirit uses all of us to get the work done. So I am open, and that's a new thing for me. I'm open to receive from wherever it comes from. So I say yes. When I say I want to go someplace and somebody says, well, I've got points on American, great. Thank you. So I didn't have to have money for that ticket. You see what I mean? So it's not about that. It's about saying yes, and then assuming that it'll flow in. It doesn't have to flow in from your fixed income. That's one area where abundance comes. But it flows from everywhere, and you're just open to that. So that's a part of it. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
I forget what minister I was listening to, and somebody brought up fixed income, and she said, well, who fixed it? You did, not the universe. You did.
Right.
And so you don't have to have a fixed income. And so my husband and I have started teasing each other when the Social Security gets put in our accounts, we just call it the federal stream of income.
There you go.
It's just one of the streams.
It's just one of the
And we've
streams.
affirmed-
That's exactly
We
right.
have many. We have many.
Well, more streams, right? I don't
Yeah,
necessarily even know where they are. Exactly. I'm just open, and when somebody walks up and gives me a check, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, universe. Yeah.
And
all
even
the time.
with this, the situation now where we've got our house on the market, so because of the market, what's happening in our culture right now, it's been slow. And so this has made me expand my thinking even around that. So originally we
Yes.
kept saying all the way through this process, we have to sell our house first before we can buy the other house.
Right.
And in the last month, I said, well, why does that have to be?
Why is that true? Right. Why
I've
is
been
that a
saying
truth?
it all along because I
Yeah.
believe that, but that's my
Right.
individual consciousness. That has nothing to
Correct.
do with the
With
universe or
reality.
what is possible.
No.
Because a
No.
billion things could happen.
Exactly.
I mean, we could have all the cash we need to buy that house that we want now without
Exactly.
selling our house.
Exactly. Why
But
was
I'm
that
the one
condition
who
put on
said
it?
it
Yeah.
has to sell. So now I've
Right.
stopped saying that.
Yeah. All I know is I'm buying the other house. I don't need to
Yes.
condition the other. I don't need to condition the house we're in. The house that we want to move into is ours, and whatever needs to happen is coming our way. That's it. That's all we need to know. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
each month
So-
it's interesting as things
Isn't it?
progress, and I thought maybe that's why this period has happened, because it's allowing me to expand my consciousness about what is
Yeah.
possible in the world, in the
Absolutely.
universe with a capital
Yes.
U. So
Exactly.
each month I dropped another already established premise that I had about what needs to happen for a house to be able to move to the
Right.
next house.
Right.
That yes, we have to do it, that we have to sell it at a particular price, because I thought, no, we don't. And maybe there's just one buyer who steps forward. Who knows? Maybe we're
Who
waiting
knows?
for 3 people to step forward, and now we got a bidding war, and I sell the house for more than I originally asked for. Who
Exactly.
knows?
Exactly. Because the truth is, somebody is selling their house in this economy. Some houses are being sold in this economy. That is the truth.
Lots of houses are being sold.
Okay. So why not yours? Correct.
So why not mine? And
Right.
why does it have to happen the way the culture says it generally happens? I already fixed this process. And so
Right.
now
Right.
I've like all bets are off. Who knows? Maybe we don't even need cash to get in that house. I know
Exactly.
people who were gifted homes by the person who owned it because they said, you want this house, I want you to have it. Just move in.
Just
I
move
don't
in.
want to live there.
Right.
So
Right.
just move in and you can have it. I know people who lived. I know a woman who moved to a house in Costa Rica because of
Yeah.
that. She wanted to write her book, and somebody said, "Well, just go live there for 3 months and write your book."
Boom. Done.
Oh,
I'm out. Yeah, there you go. And
a
so yeah.
opulent house on the beach, gorgeous. Yeah, inside and out. Yes, fruit trees, everything. Oh my gosh! And she was there just writing, didn't have to work.
Oh,
Nothing
la,
to
la,
pay.
la. Yes.
Like
Yes.
a lady of leisure with her book and her laptop.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So the truth is, the universe is abundant. That's true. And so why wouldn't the abundance flow your way? Why put stipulations on how it's supposed to come? Just say it's coming. That it's here now. Not that it's coming. My abundant life is here now. And just say yes to whatever you want to say yes to. And let go of the how. Let go of how it's going to get. It's going to get it. It comes when it comes. That's God's business, not mine. My business is to say yes. My business is to decide what. That's my business. That's it.
Yeah, it's Joel
yeah.
Osteen who said, the universe doesn't know anything about 1 0, 2 zeros, 10 zeros after the 1 or the 5 or whatever it is you're asking for. He said
Right.
it's the same spiritual work.
Yes.
So if you want $10, ask for the $10, but also know at the same time you could have 10,000
Right.
or 10 million.
Exactly. Right.
So the spiritual work is the same.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we go at it, and that's based on the truth that we tell ourselves.
Correct.
Truth with
A truth. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
A
what we
truth
tell
that we've
ourselves.
known. Right. A truth that we've known perhaps from our childhood, from the way we were raised, from what goes on around us. That's a little T. It's not the whole T. Right. That's a big T.
Until we, like Jesus, align with the infinite, with the divine, and say,
Yes.
I know this is a boundless. And that's why he went from a few baskets of fish and bread to feed the multitudes.
Right. Yeah.
He
He didn't
fed
say where it's
everybody
coming
and
from.
had bread and fish left
Left.
over.
Exactly. He didn't ask where it's coming from. He just said, we're going to feed you.
Mhm.
And I just kept reaching in, just reaching in. He didn't ask where it came from. He just said, yeah, this is what we're doing. Yeah, this is what we're doing.
He
This is what we're
raised his
doing.
eyes to heaven and
Yeah,
he said, just go feed the
let's
people.
go.
Just go feed them.
Just go do it. Just go do it. And clearly the people that he told that had that belief within them already. They were able to spot the truth themselves and move forward. Because again, you whoever you're talking with, whoever you're showing healing to, whatever, they have to know the truth within themselves as well. So
Yes.
it's not like a magic wand. Well, I'm saying, no, I'm saying, know it. Speak the truth that you know already.
Like Anita said, plenty to spare and to share, pressed down and
Yes,
overflowing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's where I want to be. And so it's interesting. That's our challenge. And that's where the gifts, our realization starts to grow, and we start to evolve when we start to say, oh, okay, the truth truly is this. And it's
Yes.
not what I was thinking.
It's not.
It's
not.
not
It's so much more. So much greater.
so much more. And even when you get there, there's so much more than that.
There's always going to be. There's an evolution process of evolving upward, not downward, not flat, upward. To me, it's always going upward. So we're gonna, I guess, take another quick break.
Take another break.
Wow, what's happening? How'd this happen? Oh. All right. So I was just looking here.
To tap Anita Pickenpaw the next time we need a guest on the show, or we want.
You're not kidding, huh? Look at all this. I know,
one
great
of us
stuff.
can't be here. So yes,
Yeah.
Anita, we might be tapping you on the shoulder one day.
Yeah, and say, come on in.
To be one of the Real Talk sisters one Tuesday, or a couple of Tuesdays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It would. Just reading a little bit more from the Four Agreements. It says your word can create the most beautiful dream, or it can destroy everything around you.
Mm-hmm.
It can destroy everything around you. And so, that's that is the truth of it. That is the truth of it. And so I wrote some questions down here, and I said, how do we know what needs to be said? One of the tenets, maybe, or thing that runs through my head. Hopefully, I'm trying to say it before the words flow out of my mouth, and then I'm that's the work right there. Before the words flow out of my mouth, the question I ask is, does this need to be said? And is this am I saying it and looking at and seeing unconditional love as I speak?
Yeah.
Because I think unconditional love is transformative. So I see the power in everyone that I speak to when I'm coming from unconditional love. So it forms what I say. And to ask that question, what if anything even needs to be said here? Because I feel like, I don't feel like anything. I know Spirit's not just talking to me. Spirit's talking to all of us. There's a radio going on inside of our heads all the time. And so, do I need to speak it out loud, or do I just say, listen to what Spirit's saying to you, and trust that you know what I mean? So that is the truth as well, and that's encouraging others to know themselves and to know they already have the power within them to know the truth and to start getting used to and comfortable with that knowledge and going within all the time and trusting that. And the more you do, the more you know. Yeah.
Pausing and taking a breath and going within. And because maybe the truth is that the other person needs to reveal the truth. Maybe they need to get to it on their own, and it's not
on
for
their
us
own.
to tell them. Because usually when we're telling something, like you said, you're telling something to someone, they can have resistance to it. But if they discover it themselves, and we just let the moment sit, and we let something happen, we give space for something, then
Yes.
then often others are more willing to say, maybe this is mine.
Right.
Maybe this is mine. And what is speaking to me right now? Where's my internal, where's that internal presence that is mine?
Yes. Exactly. Exactly correct.
And if we're talking, then they don't get a chance to do it because they're listening to us running our mouths.
Exactly. Oh,
Instead
great
of going
guru. Yeah, exactly.
and we may not be speaking absolute truth. And that's where sometimes our arrogance gets us, that we think, oh, I'm delivering the truth to this person. I'm helping them along the way, when really they just need to discover it for themselves. And the greatest gift we can give them is to stay out of it.
Exactly. Oh, I love that, Kim. That was beautiful.
And give ourselves is to stay the heck out of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up.
Often
Back
my
away.
truth is keep your mouth shut, Kim. That's my
Doop,
truth. Often.
doop, doop. Quiet down. Stop talking so they can hear themselves. Hear the God in them.
I can see spirit going, no.
Abort. Abort.
Run, girlfriend, run. No. He's looking at me and going, scene.
Scene. We're done. We're done. What makes you think you need to be talking right now? Bring it down. Bring it down.
Because I know where this is going. You don't, but I can see the ditch right before you. Get ready to fall in it. Don't do it.
Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. And so I think this is part of, you think about the sages of the world. What do they really say? Aren't they just kind of sitting there waiting for you to open up your mouth and just acknowledge the truth? I mean, sages really do that. They just go, and just look at you and ready for you to spill the truth that you already know. That's what a sage would actually, to me, a sage would go. And so, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, often masters just answered a question with a question.
Exactly. Because that's the truth they know. You already know the answer. I don't need to feed it to you. And it's more powerful if it comes out of your mouth and not mine. Then you'd actually probably do it, whatever it is. So.
Just the thought in my mind just came up. That was the Karate Kid. When he had him out there
wax on, wax
the
off.
fence, wax on, wax off, and he kept asking, "What is this for?" He just keep doing what you're doing, wax on, wax off, till finally he got it. But he was working with that fence the whole time, just getting mad.
This is doing nothing. He's got me waxing your car. What's that?
And he would just sit there and look at him. Keep doing what I told you to do. Because the answer is in there. But he had to go through that process in order to get there. And I'm reminded of that often. That often our truth comes from not talking, but from being in the process and letting God work and letting ourselves work through God or with God.
Yes, so just letting it be revealed. Exactly, and letting it be revealed.
And it comes through something like this 4 months of our house being on the market. It has really opened up.
Yes.
Really has opened me up in a way, and I've watched myself. I've become more patient. I've become more open, and every single time it's made, even when I got frustrated, it made me sit down and say, "Okay, what do I need to do with this?" And usually it was stop thinking, stop talking, and discover what is next. Discover what my next level of consciousness about abundance was.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that in discovering all of that, it had nothing to do with the house being sold or us buying the new one. It had to do with me being able to sit in this process and say, I thought I knew what this was, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And then all of these ideas started to come up. Maybe you don't have to sell your house first. Maybe you don't need actual money to get into the house you want. Maybe the first house you looked at was not what was your highest and best, because I thought I knew 4 months ago what that was. We had a house we wanted desperately. And then when I really thought of it, and I think I related this to you, when I really thought of it, I thought, no, you were settling. I was settling.
You thought that was the best you could do.
I was back on fixed income.
Yep. Yeah.
I was settling for that. And so it made me, I looked at it and then other people were putting contracts on it, and finally it sold. I went, huh, all right, I'm not happy. And what needs to change here?
Right.
What do I need to change about that? What is this teaching me right now? And that's when I sat down long enough, something said, that wasn't it. That wasn't the one that answers your heart and your desires.
Right.
And so I went, okay, what do I really want?
Right.
And then I got really close to this. What does manifestation look like? And how do you get from wanting something to true manifestation? And I knew I hadn't gone through the same steps I had done other times when I manifested stuff, which is to get specific, to say that's what I want, and to claim it and go from that.
Exactly. That is the process. That's exactly, to me, I mean, as far as I know.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let the how go, because, I thought I knew the how. So I said, I don't need to know this. I just need to say that's mine.
Exactly.
And I stopped looking for anything else.
Exactly.
Because with
just
the
releasing
first house,
anytime.
Yes, with the first house, it was there, but I was still on Zillow looking at other houses, and I had like 10 other houses in there saying, well, if that doesn't work, don't do this. And if that doesn't happen,
oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
All over the place.
I love it.
And then I thought, well, if I claim that house, why am I looking at 12 others?
Yes. Great questions. Great questions.
So I hadn't claimed anything. So of course it's not mine.
Right. Love it.
So I talked to my husband about it. We went back to the drawing board, and I said, okay, let's go out and look. And we actually, I think I told you about that. We looked at 4, and it actually, the one that we decided on is not the one we first fell in love with. Well, the second love after the one someone else bought. And we went and looked at them, and we did. We went in with our hearts open. We went in knowing what is it that we truly want for our next home.
Yes.
And what is it that we want to claim? And so several times a day now, I'll ask him, okay, where do you live? Where do you live, Quentin? He'll give me the address of the new house. And then an hour later, I'll say, Kim Andrews, where do you live? And so I'll tell him.
Oh, I love it.
We're having so much fun with that.
I love it.
But it's about, what is the truth? And what was the truth for me? And there was something in the universe that was trying to get me to open up and said, I know you say you want that, but I know the truth of your heart.
Right.
And that's not it.
That's not it.
You can have it if you want it, but you really don't want it because you're still looking while you say you've claimed something. Right. So that's not your truth.
Right.
Because if so, you would have stopped. You would have stopped.
That right there. That I'm going to wait for that. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so now I'm listening to that still small voice within me and saying, okay. And so yesterday I finally got to, maybe none of this has to do with what's in my bank account.
It doesn't.
Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with my house selling first.
It does not. We don't know what it has to do with. All we know for sure is that's my house.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. That's my house. So, do whatever you have to, whatever the Holy Spirit, that's on you. I say that all the time. I've done my part. I've decided that's where I'm going. That is it. What you gonna do?
Go to work.
Go to work.
And I said that the other day. We're claiming this one. You bring it.
Go to work. Go to work.
Go
to work, Kevin. Make it happen, Kevin. Go to work. That's exactly how. That's exactly how. For me, just speaking in that way, and everybody speaks and has this conversation with Spirit, however they have it. But for me, you're exactly correct. That's what I believe. So I know for sure for me is I have to make a definite decision. What the hell do you want? And then take actions that are aligned with that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I say I want, like I did, I want this new car. Okay, but you haven't let go of this old piece of crap you have. So you got to make space because the universe abhors a vacuum. So I knew for that particular thing, I need to make space. That was me hanging on. Yeah. And so I thought, you know what? Regardless of whether a car shows up immediately or not, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm letting go of this one. I'm letting go of this. I don't need this anymore. I'm making space for what I want to come in.
Yeah.
So, I know that those are the two things that have to happen. Make a decision and make space for it.
Yes. Anita said it beautifully. We need to come into alignment with life for us.
Yes.
Yeah, come into, again, here's that alignment with God, with the absolute,
Yeah,
with source, with spirit. And once we come into alignment with that, then we are at truth with a capital T, not just swimming around in our own little world saying, oh, my house has got to sell first and it's got to be at this price or else I'm not going to be able to get what I want. Yeah,
exactly.
that's my truth if I want to live that, if that's what, but that's not in alignment
Right,
with truth,
right.
unless I want it to be, because that can be in alignment. And spirit can say, okay, I'll sell your house first. But if you're going to deal with the world as it is, be in the world and of it,
Yes.
then I can wait for the industry to move the way it's moving, and
Or,
I could be here another 8 months trying to sell my
right,
house.
right. So when you tell me, you tell me by your actions, not just what your mouth is saying, by your actions, what do you really want?
Yeah,
So
Anita's right here with us today. Then she said,
yes, she is. It's saying about that.
prove me, saith the Lord of hosts. Yes.
Yes, and this is I talked about this on a show earlier. I just thought spirit invites us to prove the truth, to prove it. Let and see if I won't pour out manna from heaven.
Mhm.
Test me in this, saith the Lord. Test me. Just test it. All right. Well, here we go. Here we go. This is what I want. This is what I want. And here's how you know it's what I want. Because I put down my deposit, whatever that may be. I let the car go, I put my money down, whatever the deposit is. I put my mouth and money in the same place. So now, what you gonna do? Get busy. Get busy, homeboy. Get busy, homeboy.
Get busy, spirit.
Okay, get going. Get going. So we've got like a couple more minutes and just want to maybe kind of sum up what we're talking about. And I'm not really sure how to sum it up, but just it's so truth with a capital T. It's ever evolving. Our understanding, truth is not ever evolving. Truth is truth, but our understanding of truth is ever evolving. Our understanding of allowing truth to show up in our lives is ever expanding for us. The understanding is ever growing, and so we allow more and more as we let go of truths that are no longer serving us. They're no longer serving us. And there's this truths. And so part of it for me certainly had to be as I look at my results in my life, like what's showing up in my life that I don't like, I have to think, okay, well, why is that showing up? Because what is it that I believe? Because certainly my thoughts are what's doing it. So what is it that I believe about the universe that's allowing that to come? And let go of that, recognize that truth and release that. That's no longer a truth that serves me. I'm ready to let it go. Like you're talking about, I the only way to get this house is to sell this house first. Well, what makes that true? And so you're recognizing this is the truth I hold that is not necessary to hold. So I'm gonna let that go. So it's ever looking within ourselves and releasing the truths that were working for us at one point that are no longer because we're evolving. And that's okay. It's not like it was never a truth. It's just that we are evolving in our consciousness and understanding. And that's, to me, what happens. We're evolving. So I love it. What are your thoughts, Kim?
Yeah, I think my final thoughts are, yes, that I do realize now that there is our individual consciousness, which is truth with little t, lowercase t, and that there's truth with a capital T, which is the absolute, which comes when we are in alignment with God mind, and that the source of that is always God, divine principle, divine intelligence, divine wisdom. And that, when we pause and let ourselves go there, then we can align ourselves with truth with a capital T. And it does set us free every single time.
Every single time, not just sometimes.
And so we can live freely and abundantly if we just align with truth and with God in every moment. So, this has been rich. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anita.
Yeah, thank you. Mara, thank you so much for being here.
With us.
Thank you both.
We appreciate it. We are signing off. So we're realtalksisters@gmail.com if you want to email us. And our website is realtalksisters.com. And I have not been posting some of our thoughts on there for a very long time, but I'm going to get back to it. But you can read more about us and what we do and how we came together. Reverend Pjae here, Reverend Melinda Wood Allen, and myself, Reverend Kim Andrews. Thank you to Zoe, our producer. We
Thank
love
you.
you because this would not be happening without you. You're fabulous and wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. The truth is, we love you.
That is the truth. That is
Yes.
the absolute truth. Thank
And
you.
we're out.
Woo.